Good morning, everyone. My name's Andy Hall. This is News You Can Use to Fight Fascism, the Disappointed Cat Morning Show. Hey, you want to feel good about yourself? I'm going to show you a quick video before we start talking about Hillsong, that megachurch that surprisingly had a founder had some issues with his penis. I don't think I'm going to get banned by YouTube if I say the word penis in the first minute. Will I? I don't know. But let's take a look. What happens when you get two Karens together? Is it a gaggle of Karens? Is it a murder of Karens? What kind of grouping is that? Oh, hey, this is why you're going to feel good about yourself, everyone. You're going to feel a lot smarter after watching these two talk. GOP congressional candidate Heidi St. John and former Miss California, USA, Carrie Prejean? I wonder if she's related to the post genes. Complained that men wearing masks is emasculating, demeaning, and demoralizing. Bring back the manly men, Karen. Bring back the manly men. Let's see what roll the tape.
You and I have a mutual friend. I was talking to Sam Sorbo at the beginning of this, and she told me that when she saw her husband put a mask on, when she saw Kevin put a mask on to get on a plane, she almost started crying. She said, I hated that he put that on his face. It's emasculating.
It is.
To him. It's demeaning. It's demoralizing. It says, I can't think for myself.
No.
And I don't know, I think women like you and me, we're like, bring back the manly men.
Make men men.
Make men manly again. Like, bring back masculinity is hot. Let's bring it back.
You're exactly right.
Yeah.
I was like, what better place than hunky Home Depot, baby?
I'm sorry, maybe you just feel more stupid after watching that quick video. I don't know, Karen. What do you think, Karen? Do you think I'm Karening right? Oh, Karen, I think you're totally Karening right. You're so Karening right now, you're crushing Karening. Wow. Good morning, everyone. I'm going to say hello to the chat for a second. A caterwaul. At first I thought, remember Ukraine, at first I thought it was going to be a waterfall. I read that as a waterfall of Karens, which I just like the imagery, but a caterwaul of Karens. Very nice. Very nice. Inquisitor Bacon says, I don't know. I'd say the manly thing is not getting yourself fired from a good and steady job simply because of your own personal incredulity. Yeah. Well said, Inquisitor Bacon. John Hudson, I'm not going to show that comment of yours, though, because, I get into the trouble bubble there. And that's right, Vi. Doctors, dentists, nurses, so unmanly. So unmanly. All right. A complaint of Karen's Tesla Ranger, of course. More than one Karen would be a complaint of Karen's. I don't know, 5 points, 10 points maybe to Tesla Ranger for a complaint of Karen's. All right, let's get into the main event here. The main event, it's about this guy. Hillsong founder resigns after church finds evidence of misconduct. An internal investigation concluded that Brian Houston, the head of Australia's biggest evangelical church, had acted inappropriately towards two women. You're saying to yourself, at least they weren't kids. No, it was his dad. His dad was the child abuser. His son, Brian, just decided to stick it with women. Stick it to women? I don't know. That's wrong. Whatever I'm saying. Sydney, Australia's biggest evangelical church, said on Wednesday its founder had resigned after acting inappropriately towards two women. Another blow to an influential organization already reeling from charges the leader had covered up sex abuse. Hillsong Church said an internal investigation into complaints from two women had found that its global senior pastor, Brian Houston, had breached worshipers' trust. Are you shocked? Are you shocked that this man, Brian Houston, who helped cover up his father's sexual abuse, is guilty of sexual abuse himself, or sexual misconduct himself? Here we go. In a March 18th statement, Hillsong said its investigation found inappropriate text messages from Houston to a female employee resulted in the woman resigning a decade ago. It said Houston had blamed sleeping pills for his actions, which were not described further. Do you remember the Twinkie defense? Have you ever heard of the Twinkie defense? I believe a murderer, tried to get off of murder charges. This is a long time ago, everyone, because he was up on a sugar rush on Twinkies. This is a variation of the Twinkie defense right here. It's the sleeping pill defense. In 2019, the church found that Houston became disoriented after taking anti-anxiety medication. I don't know why he just didn't pray to Jesus to deal with his anti-anxiety, right? Isn't that what men of God are supposed to do? Pray and have God take the wheel, Jesus take the wheel? We'll start from the beginning here. 2019, the church found Houston became disoriented after taking anti-anxiety medication mixed with alcohol after a church conference, which led him knocking on the door of a hotel room that was not his, entering the room and spending time with the female occupant, Hillsong said. Yeah. So now he's gone. Oh, Brian, you're gone. And now it's a shame, really. One single tear that he's gone. And of course, who is it? Morrison, Prime Minister Morrison. He's gone to Hillsong. Hillsong is an international church. Justin Bieber and that who is it? Pratt, Scott Pratt, Peter Pratt. From the Marvel movies. He's done a bunch of things, and they're also part of the Hillsong megachurch community. I'm shocked. I'm sure you are all too, that someone in a megachurch would be guilty of sexual misconduct. Jesus did not guide him, Robert X. No, they did not. Oh man, everyone's on fire this morning. I gotta level up my game here. Tony says it's a shriek of Karens whenever there's more than one Karen gathered together in his name. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. It's a shriek of Karens. Well said, Tony. Chris Pratt, thank you, the girlfriend. The girlfriend is right now. We are aiding and abetting the girlfriend not going to work today. That's what we are. It's a horrible weather. We have weather outside. Raining weather, horrible weather. A shriek of Karens, yes. Marmaduke Scarlett says 13 ministers from Pentecostal churches in the Australian federal government. Indeed. Peter Quill, that's right, Big Zebra. Chris Pratt, Peter Quill, part of the Hillsong Church megachurch community. Sad. And of course, who was it? I forget the name of the Hillsong millennial hipster megachurch pastor who it was discovered that he was guilty of sexual misconduct too. He was married, had extramarital affairs, and so he got kicked out. It's almost as if these rigid patriarchal institutions, they're just hotbeds of sexual misconduct. It's almost as if megachurches, and like I said, these patriarchal institutions that don't have any oversight whatsoever, external oversight, just draw predators to them. All right. You want to feel something good? You want to feel better about yourself again? I know I showed you a video at the beginning of the show about a shriek of Karens, a gaggle of Karens, a complaint of Karens. But here is speaking, this is just a solo Karen, kind of. Oh, hey, I should have done a trigger warning. Let's Lauren Boebert, of course. I'm trending for being stupid again. She tweeted something knocking coronavirus and vaccines and science. And here's the actual tweet, everyone. As allergy season, I'm going to use my lumpy space princess voice. As allergies, I can't even know. I'm just going to try to use a voice. As allergy season gets underway, I encourage everyone to take their allergy medicine so that my allergy medicines can't work. Ha 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 ha. That's a joke. Could you tell that that's a joke? It doesn't work unless everyone takes it. Skeptical face there. Yes. So many things wrong with that statement from Lauren Boebert. But, wow. It was Carl Lentz. That's right. Carl Lentz was thank you, Rexy. Carl Lentz was the name of the megachurch minister who got busted. The hipster megachurch, Hillsong megachurch minister who got kicked out for not keeping it in his pants. All right. Karen Boebert, see what you did there, Big Zebra, does not know how communicable diseases work. I don't think Lauren Boebert's, once again, it's important to point out that Nazis are, by and large, pretty freaking stupid. They were stupid in the 1930s. They were stupid in the 20s. They were stupid in the 1940s. And it's true today. Just a bunch of very loud, very confident, and very stupid people. Oh, man, people are on a conniption of Karens. I like that, a conniption of Karens. All right, it's time for the halftime tummy rub show. We take a look at a cat, put a smile on our faces before we start. We're going to talk about NATO. But first, a cat.
Hey, if you're down today, you can have a little bit of my sunshine.
I'm going to play it again because it's so awesome.
Hey, if you're down today, you can have a little bit of my sunshine.
We needed that before we start talking about NATO, about the war in Ukraine, about Russia, the possibility that Russia uses tactical nuclear weapons, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, you probably first, if you watch this show regularly, I think I was the first person to say things like, be careful, be on the watch, because about tactical nuclear weapons. A lot of people don't realize, we're going to back up a little bit. A lot of people don't realize that it was NATO doctrine. I believe it was basic NATO doctrine and strategy to use nuclear weapons, tactical nuclear weapons, in the 1980s and the 1970s in case of a Russian attack into Western Europe. And I was explaining this to my girlfriend last night. The reason why is because Western Europe would not be able to defend against a conventional Russian attack during the Cold War. And so tactical nuclear weapons have been a thing for decades, but now that the world's gotten crazier, somehow the world's gotten crazier from the Cold War. Hard to believe. It's now a real possibility in Ukraine. And here we go. Here's the story. NATO countries set to give Ukraine kit to protect against nuclear and chemical attacks. Secretary General says equipment would be to protect against chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats. That's a lot of threats. Ukraine's president, Vladimir, I don't know. That's how I'm pronouncing it, will address Biden, the UK Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, and other NATO leaders assembling in Brussels on Thursday. Hey, that's today morning via video link in an emergency meeting to discuss further military responses to the ongoing crisis triggered by Russia's invasion last month. Poland, very motivated people in Poland against Russian expansion, is expected to present a proposal for a multinational peacekeeping mission in Ukraine at the meeting, but there is no support from the U.S. or many other allies for a no-fly zone or any direct NATO intervention, despite the increasingly bloody fighting. I was listening to the Sam Harris podcast yesterday, and he had an interesting guest on, and the guest noted that if Putin had just waited for a couple of years, then there might have been an irrevocable breach between the U.S. and NATO, especially if Donald J. Trump became president again in 2024. There would be a good chance that Trump would try to get the U.S. out of NATO. And there's a good possibility that if Putin had just waited, then NATO would have effectively dissolved. But instead, his invasion, the Russian invasion of Ukraine, has, if nothing else, bonded NATO together into a cohesive unit, which would not have been thought of a year or two ago. NATO countries are expected to agree on Thursday's emergency session. Let's see. I'm just going to kick down to the second paragraph there. Jens Stoltenberg, the organization's Secretary General, also told Russia to stop engaging in nuclear saber rattling and repeated warnings that the Kremlin would be seeking a pretext for using chemical weapons as warheads into a second month of hostilities there. Stoltenberg was quick to play down any possibility of direct NATO involvement. NATO will not send troops into Ukraine, the Secretary General said. drawing a distinction between member countries supplying anti-tank and other arms to Kyiv and the development of any forces on the ground. When it comes to forces, NATO will not be part of the conflict. We provide support of Ukraine, but we're not part of the conflict. Okay, we'll keep thinking that, Butch. We keep Ukraine with upholding the right for self-defense, which is enshrined in the U.S. Charter, the Secretary General said, suggesting it was unlikely the Polish proposal would develop further now. So, of course, what the NATO strategy is to do everything possible up to the point of World War III, which seems to be a reasonable position, I would say. I expect allies will agree on providing additional support, including equipment to help Ukraine protect against chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear threats, he said the day before the meeting. Stoltenberg, I'm just going to pump down to the last paragraph there. Stoltenberg described Russian comments that it would be willing to deploy nuclear weapons if NATO directly entered the conflict as dangerous and irresponsible. On Tuesday, Dmitry Peskov, the spokesperson for Russia's President Vladimir Putin, had said nuclear arms could be used if Moscow thought it faced an existential threat. That's a lot of it is pillow talk. The Russians are losing. They're bleeding out. What's the latest numbers? Like the best numbers we can get from the Russian losses in Ukraine. I've heard the number 7,500 dead. I just want to put things in perspective. I heard this on NPR. In 2 decades that the U.S. was in Afghanistan, we lost 2,500 soldiers. The Russians have lost 7,000 guys in Ukraine in just under a month. It's a staggering number. And also, I've also heard the number, $20 billion a day. The Russians are spending $20 billion a day on the war in Ukraine. And for an economy that's the size of Italy, that means a lot. They are being bled white, the Russians, economically speaking. Nothing brings together people like a common enemy. You're right about that, girlfriend. And that's the thing. It really does boil down to Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin is 69. Who knows how good his health is? Maybe he thought, I'm going to be gone. Who knows when? I'm not going to be alive. This is my legacy. I'm going to try to take as much of you. I'm going to try to take care of the Ukraine issue as quickly as possible. Yes, Marmaduke Scarlet. On the money with that comment. See what I did there? See what you did there? There we go. Well, Robert, thank you for the kind words. Like, share, and or subscribe, because I always forget to. I don't always, but I forget to ask people. And of course, if you want to become a YouTube member or a patron, that would be wonderful, because as you see, there aren't ads here. Okay, am I catching up with everyone in the chat? I think I caught up with everyone. And, yes, we did talk about Hillsong. But you know that, right? You were here earlier. Hey, Scott Duke, glad to see that you're here this morning. All right, I think that's me. I think that's it for the show. I'm going to drop a cat video. I'm going to drop a thank you video. What? I didn't say anything about, I don't know why I'm pointing over there. It's like the shows, like the next show is over there. That's weird. But we do have an open room at 9:30. Link to be on the panel is in the description below. If you just want to watch, if you're into that kind of thing, you can go to the Naked Diner podcast YouTube channel. And I'll see you at 9:30, everyone. And we're going to do the same crazy thing tomorrow. Take care.
Poops are pants and cries for fun. Born in 2021. Little baby.